Hello, blessed jewelry community. Hello, professional 3D jewelry design. Welcome to this new tutorial. This channel, the 3D Jewelry Blender video series, is to create jewelry as an art form. My roots, and we still have a lot of jewels to create. Let's get started. So let's bring this drawing, add image reference image. I'm going to copy it, the reference image, in all the planes. Now this is going to be a woman's ring. So let's go to front view. It's going to be a size 8. So add mesh circle, radius 9.1, get 250 vertices, align to the view and center this. Call this size 8 ref. Save and be happy. Now let's append the diamond from the gemstone collection. We have a row of diamonds with prongs. Just bring in the diamond to have some size reference. The diamond is going to be 2 millimeters. Now at the front, I have some decorations, some leaves right there. We're going to start with that. Okay, let's go. So add mesh plane to view. I want 4 millimeters. This is just a reference for the size. So I'm going to move it to the back right there. Now I'm going to copy this, go to edit mode, merge at center. I'm going to center this here. Now I'm going to extrude on the z-axis a couple of times. Now we have this. Let's extrude on the x-axis. Let's scale. Extrude on the x-axis. Let's scale. Now let's add a mirror modifier, out of edit mode, apply all the transforms there. Now we're going to move this slightly back here, and let's select everything and extrude on the y-axis, make it planar, scale on the y-axis to 0, make it. Now here, let me see, I want at least 1 millimeter. Let's go at 1.3. The edges on the inside, meaning these, delete these edges. Okay, we have this. Let's make a bevel subdivision surface 3 times. Okay, now here, let's work on this shape to make it smoother. Okay, now the middle. I want this to be sharper. Let's tweak these vertices. Okay, great. Let's call this leaf 001. Now from the side view, let's move this -4.5. Now let's create a new material. Let's call it gold. Let's go to display color. Let's make it golden right here. Save and be happy. Okay, now let's take this leaf. We need to make smaller leaves. So let's make a copy. Shift D, rotate it, scale it. Okay, now I need to apply the mirror, okay, so I can edit this geometry. Let's adapt the shape as needed. Now do a Control A, all transforms, and add a new mirror. Now, in fact, this can have a mirror on the y-axis, and this one also on the y-axis. Okay, here on the z-axis, depending your orientations. Okay, now here, let me just do a slight tweak. And shade smooth, save and be happy. Now here we have 2 small borders here and up there. So I need to do that to have the progression dimensions. So let's go to top view. Let's come back here, add mesh plane. Here it's going to be 0.85 millimeters. Control A, scale. Let's go to edit mode. Now we're going to W bevel vertices. This, and here I'm going to subdivide and bring this one outside here. Let's call this edges profile 001. Now go to object, convert to curve. Save and be happy. Now let's go to front view. We're going to add curve Bezier circle to the view. Let's go to resolution. Let's go at 80. Center it and scale it on the finger. Go to geometry, bevel object. The object is the edge profiles 001. Now, Control A, apply scale, go to edit mode, and put the mean radius to 1. Now this is going to be yellow gold. So we need to check that this is exactly on the finger size. Now this might need a simple deform, tapper, find the correct orientation, and apply the restriction on the x-axis. I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to remove the deformation on the copy in edit mode. So I'm going to take this vertex down there and I'm going to move it. I want this to be slightly curved. This is really pretty. And add mirror on the y-axis. So that's the main width of the ring. And now what I'm going to do is take this and adapt its position. It's properly in place. Control A, all transforms. Now there's the second border, so I'm going to take this. So I'm going to copy it. Shift D. Now let's go to edit mode. Let's scale this in edit mode. Let's call this border 001, border 002. Save and be happy. Now I'm going to take my leaves. Okay, I want the leaf to come out very slightly. Now let's take the leaves, copy them, do a convert to mesh, join, Control J. Let's call this leaf meshed 1002. Bring the origin to the geometry here. So here I'm going to scale it slightly, but not on the y-axis. Now check the mirror right there. Okay, now we're going to copy this one more time. We need to tweak the position in edit mode. There slightly. Okay, this is good for now. Save and be happy. Now I have some small columns right there. So let's go add mesh plane to the view. Let's go to edit mode, merge at center. Bring this vertex right there. They might be slightly curved. Okay, now I'm going to split here. I'm going to take this out a bit. Now let's bring this into position somewhere here. It's going to be gold. Select everything. Extrude on the y-axis. Make it flat SY0 to adapt these endings and adapt as needed to follow the border a bit better. Okay, now bevel subdivision surface level 3 shade smooth. Here I want the line to be marked, so I'm going to bring this much more to the outside. Control A, all transforms out of edit mode. Add the mirror on X and Y. Now let's go to edit mode. Adapt the rotation and the scale, but not on the y-axis. Let's stay at 1 on the y-axis. Now, obviously, we need to tweak the position of the leaves, these leaves. So let's do that in edit mode. Okay, there. Now what we can do is transparency, take the tip right there. Let's go to proportional editing and let's tweak. Now let's take the columns, select everything, adapt the rotation and the scale, not on the y-axis. Take the third leaves, adapt the position, same wise, slightly touching there. You can adapt the tip right there with or without proportional editing. Take the columns, last ones, third ones, copy, rotate, scale, adapting the position right there. Check the design. This is great. Save and be happy. Now we have a solid part right there. We need to fill this zone. So I'm going to do it from the columns. I'm going to take a vertex. Let's copy it here. I'm going to do a 1 and 2, just 2 vertices here. So these 2 vertices, let's check their position. I want them inside the metal already. Let's start extruding. I'm not going to make a lot of geometry out of this. I need to follow the tapper from the side view. I need to adapt, extrude, rotate, scale. Let's fill this gap. So let's extrude once more. Now here, it's rounding off way too much, but I need to extrude this. Here, let's go at 0.7. So on the inside, it's going to come out slightly, but that's all right. So now with the extrusion, we're not that much rounded. Don't forget to do another object shade smooth. And don't forget to check the normals from time to time. We have this and that. We need to flip the normals. So these are curves. Stay the profile right there. Let's go to edit mode and do a switch direction on the profile. So the outside borders, they're done. Save and be happy. Now let's work on the diamond rows. So this, let's adjust the position. Let's copy, adapt the position, add a mirror based on the size reference. Check the distance to the border. Now I have 5 more diamonds. So I have 1 at the center and 6 on each side. Follow the tapper. Let's keep making the copies and tweaking. Diamond distribution. Okay, save and be happy. Okay, now I need a zone for the diamonds, a solid container to hold the prongs. So I'm going to copy this element, Shift D, and let's put a new name, diamonds container. There, let's go to edit mode. Select everything, merge at center, so you have only one vertex left. I'm going to start here, center this exactly, and let's come up here, over the diamond here. I'm going to make this shape here, and here I'm going to follow the diamond with the ridge right there. Now this goes slightly here. Okay, close here with F. Save and be happy. And now we're going to start extruding this. So let's extrude and rotate. This is a reference to start with something. Anyway, what's going to set the diamonds are the prongs. Now let's extrude. And we're going to see how to finish this. Okay, now I'm going to extrude this. But now I'm going to rotate here. The gumball rotation are 2 times. And we're going to the extrusion rotation. Leave some space for the prongs. There, extrude. And we're going to end. Let's end right there in this wall. Check the normals, Alt N to the outside. Always check your design from the bottom. Read the geometry as needed. Check the design. This is all clean. Save and be happy. Now we need a floor for the diamonds. Add mesh plane. Put somewhere there. Let's go to edit mode. Merge. Add center. From wall to wall. The y-axis. Front view. Let's extrude. So obviously then we'll follow the tapper. But for now, we need to close this. Good. This is going to be gold. Now, add modifier solidify, 0.7, put a bevel and subdivision surface 3 levels. Here we can tweak this as needed. Now we need some prongs. Save and be happy. Top view, add mesh, sphere, 60, 30. This is going to be gold. Let's go at 0.75. Shade smooth. Now let's come here. Let's make a mirror X and Z from the size reference right there. Go to edit mode. Don't forget to make it a bit more like this. Don't come out of this side. Okay, this needs a very slight rotation. Okay, now let's start making the copies and make the prong row. You can take 2 at once, copy, make the rotation, follow the tapper, let them come out slightly. That all depends who's going to set the gemstones. Okay, the prongs are all in place. Here at the end, I'm going to add a prong right here, decorative prong, add another one. And I'm going to adapt. Okay, the prongs are ready. Check the inside. This is clean. Save and be happy. Okay, now I'm going to close the outside shell right there. So it's going to be slightly curved. What I'm going to do is take this floor right there. I'm going to copy it. This is going to be the ring body shell. Go to edit mode. Take one vertex, invert the selection, delete all the rest. I'm going to start from the bottom. So here, I need something like this, minus 1.68 to make this outside wall. So let's take this, let's start extruding, rotating, extruding, rotating. let's start creating this. Obviously, don't forget to follow the tapper. Follow the edge right here. So now, here I'm going to start. This line is going to come more to the inside, and I'm going to do this first. Now, here follow as needed. Okay, here. Let's extrude this on the y-axis and make it flat, SY0. This go at 0 on the y-axis global. Okay, this is nice, but I want it rounder. So I'm going to take this line again, and I'm going to tweak its position. Okay, it's starting to get smooth. Here, it's perfectly smooth. Obviously, now here, that's not connecting. So now what I want is to tweak the position of the diamonds and the prongs and the floor and this wall there. And this needs to be at least higher. So I'm going to make that decoration first. So it's going to be from a Bezier curve. This one is going to be at 0 on the y-axis. Tap this here, and I'm going to need a temper curve. It's going to be a round bevel, so depth, what works, 1, fill caps, yes, resolution 30, it's a lot smoother, material gold. Now, Control A, all transforms. I need a mirror on the X and Y axis right there. Okay, now here I need to tweak this SX0, so it ends like this. And I need a temper curve. Also, obviously, I need to tweak the position, but later. Let's first create top view and curve, Bezier curve, tapper, deco, side. Put it at 0 on X. Now let's take the decoration curve, geometry, tapper object, there. Okay, and let's take the tapper curve and let's adapt where's the ending. Okay, the ending is like, I want a perfect round ending. So now let's tweak. Okay, here I need more resolution. It's what, 80? Now I'm going to make double some work here with the radius. Okay, this is better. Save and be happy. Okay, now let's get started. We need some leaves. So, unmeshed plane. It's going to be gold. It's going to be top decorations. And let's get started. Let's merge at center. So I need leaves. Let's start outer shape. It's going to be way too big, but let's not worry about that. Let's create the shapes first. Let's extrude this. Let's do an SX-1. Now let's adapt here. Now let's cut right there in the middle. Let's move it on the Z-axis. Right there, why not? Now let's adapt this. Now let's cut again. Take everything, extrude on the Z-axis. Okay, extrude SZ0. Okay, now for a second, let's go to subdivision surface level 3. Let's add a bevel before this. Okay, that's pretty nice. So now what I want is some grooves. One and the other. Select these points. Okay, and on the opposite side also. Okay, select these. Tack, tack, and tack. So now let's see how it works. On the Z-axis, going in, make the details stand out. So by tweaking the position of these vertices, this is going to be this leaf right there. I'm going to do the rest with curves. So I need a new profile, add curve, circle, 0 on X. Let's call this profile 002. Let's save and be happy. Now let's go to edit mode. This is going to be smaller. Bring this down here and make this a bit thicker. Okay, that's good for now. Before I continue, I'm going to make the floor right there. So let's take the floor we already have, this one, and let's copy it. Shift D. Let's go to edit mode. But this gotta be SY0 and 0 on Y. Now, I want this to be lower here. Okay, let's make it like this. Now, let me take the ending here. Let's extrude a couple times so we can close this zone. And what I'm going to do, just like before, I'm going to cut it here. until you get a smooth surface. Like I said, always work on the inside. Okay, this is the center port. Save and be happy. Good, so what I did now is that I made the front view and the side view follow this center shape. So I adapted the angles of the diamonds. And now we're going to make the cutters. So let's select all the diamonds here. Copy with Shift D, make a mesh, Alt C, Control J. These are the cutters for the diamonds. Right here, Control A, all transform. Now let's take the floor right there, add Boolean difference fast from the cutters. Check the result. This is perfect. Save and be happy. Okay, so now that the shape of the ring is now final, I can keep working on these decorations.
So I'm going to make all the decorations.
Okay, so here I tweaked the leaf. Remember, I made the second profile there for the next decorations because I'm going to use curves also. Resolution 60, something pretty high. Now, bevel object, profile number 2. Okay, this is pretty good. And I'm going to create a new taper curve also. So let's add it around there. Add curve, Bezier. Let's call this Bezier curve taper 02. So this will have geometry there, taper object, taper 02, and it's going to be a multiply radius. So obviously I need to tweak taper curve. So let's go to edit mode on the taper curve. Okay, and I want this to be subdivided because this gotta be thicker. We want a pretty smooth progression. I want it thicker on one side. Look at this, something like this. Okay, now it's all about tweaking. So remember, that's why we're going to be using the multiply radius, because now here we can adapt, especially the endings. Let me create. Okay, here. Now let me do something important for the contact with the rest of the metal. I need this to be much higher. So keep tweaking the details. Zero thickness is not your friend in the real world in 3D printing or jewelry casting or jewelry manufacturing. So step by step, I'm going to create all the decorations, and then we'll work on positioning and deforming the decorations so they fit perfectly on the top of the ring. Now here I'm going to add a small flower. So let's add a sphere, 80-40, really smooth. Take this part, let's make it flat. Now let's take this, let's make a copy. Let's take one vertex, invert the selection, delete. Now here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's extrude this. Okay, that's one petal. And I'm going to extrude this on the z-axis. That's nicer. Okay, here I'm going to make 5 petals. Okay, here let's do a randomized vertices. Okay, let's take some of this. Okay, now Shift D, make another one. A lot more fun, a lot faster. Sometimes you want to make smooth endings. Just do it like this, and there you go, you have a smooth ending. Okay, now I'm going to take this, go to edit mode, ASX-1. Okay, here let me add mesh. Let's add some points, some like fruits. So let's extrude this. Okay, I'm going to make a couple of these. 1, 2, 3, something like that. That works also to close the endings here and there. Decorations, like I said, like fruits or buttons from the plants. SX-1. Okay, here let's go one more. Okay, here I need another division. Okay, I'm starting to like it pretty much. We are going to add another leaf right there. So that might be a weird concept in design, but yeah, you need to be lucky somehow. not only as a designer, not only as an artist, as a person. I like this shape. Okay, let's try to free this vector. Yeah. And like this. So obviously you need to find new challenges. So do whatever you want with my advices, but still, I always advise people to become jewelers first and then become jewelry designers. Okay, now we need to prepare to put the decorations into place. So I'm going to take them all here. I'm going to copy them on the x-axis. Okay, so all of this, convert to mesh. And now what I need to do in edit mode, transparency, I need to have a common ground somewhere without affecting the design too much. So I'm going to do that by parts. I'm going to take the bottom and bring it lower and make it flatter. If things can go wrong, they will go wrong, and they always go wrong. Okay, I think this was the last one. And now I'm going to take this again, copy it again, because I'm going to join all this. I'm going to center the origin to geometry, and obviously we'll need more decorations here and there. Save and be happy. Great. Now what I need to do is create a lattice. So add lattice. Let's center it about there. Now let's start scaling here. Okay, here I'm going to center this and do it Control A, all transforms. Scale on the y-axis, scale on the z-axis. Okay, now I need more divisions here. 5, 5, 5. To start with, this is pretty good. Now let's take the decorations, save and be happy to start with. Go to modifiers, add modifier, lattice. The lattice is this lattice. Let's go to edit mode. I'm going to start working here and there. Let's start moving this and let's start watching things happen. Okay, so we're going to rotate, move, rotate, and move. Okay, here we need more divisions. This one needs to be at the center. 0 on X. And let's keep adapting our lattice deformation. So it follows the curvature. That's why, by example, in this case, the lattice deformation tool is perfect for the job, and Blender for professional 3D jewelry design. Okay, so here I'm done with the lattice. There are some spaces where I can add some more elements. So if you want, you can make the decoration directly on the ring. If you want to avoid using the deformation, or for any reason you don't like the result of the lattice deformation, check the inside of your ring. So what do we have? We're going to keep this clean. So we need to copy this. So now we can call this cutter for the center support. This is going to need a Boolean. We very probably need a remesh modifier before the Boolean. Be sure to do that. You can take these elements and check that they are going inside contact with the support. That's very important for your 3D model and for the STL for 3D printing. There's still a small decorative element comes right here. I have a couple of lines here. Don't forget to tweak this progression so it follows nicely the shape of the ring. Okay, add these lines right there. Save and be happy, and let's get to it. Okay, add a new collection, call it Gallery. Now here, I'm going to work from the top view at first. Add mesh, plane, let's center it. Okay, go to edit mode, let's scale it. So, I'm going to make some curved elements, just like in the drawing. Let's extrude, extrude, extrude. Okay, so at first, I'm going to give it a solidify modifier, 0.9. All right, everybody's in the same direction. So we have this. Now we need some beveling here, and then we need some subdivision surface at level 3. We're going to come down here inside of the ring, and we're going to add some simple deform bend on the z-axis. Yep, so cursor to selected, add mesh cube, 90 degrees on X, cube default orientation. The origin for the simple deform is the deform cube. It's looking good, but we're way too small. More design elements. Then I'll have to worry about, I think it's going to be a tapper and, well, tweak. Okay, so I completed the gallery. Sometimes the angle is more than 360 degrees, so it goes or overlap over itself. Now I need some simple deformation tapper. So now what I need to do is complete more elements to the sides. So let's go to edit mode to complete the gallery. Let's get to it. All right, the gallery is done. So the modeling is complete from the drawing, but there's a lot of work to be done for the render because the ring is called enamel ring because you obviously guessed it. This top part with all these designs is going to receive enameling. Let's get to it. So let's go and save the file as another enamel ring render because we are going to affect the geometry, because we are going to erase things. Let's save another file. So let's clean what we don't need. We don't need the references anymore. We don't need all these decorations right there. They can go now. So we optimize the file for rendering. Now here we're going to take from the Blender file. Here, let's go to materials and make a select linked. So we're left with all that is gold. Now this convert to mesh. Okay, now that everything is a mesh, we can join. Control J, and let's go to add modifier decimate. Oh well, we don't even have 3 millions. Wow, I was sure. I was really expecting like 11 millions, 15 millions, because I already remeshed the top decorations. Well, that speaks very well for us, but still 3 millions is a bit too high, especially if I'm going to make an animation. So I'm going to take it down to 1 million, so it's 30%. Let's go at 25%, 1/4. So obviously, depending on your hardware, memory, VRAM, CPU, and all of that, you need to restrain the amount of geometry more or less. And that's something you need to learn how to do. A lot less geometry with a better topology. That's where topology becomes very important. And this is exactly why you save a new file, because here anything that you would like to modify, it's going to be a lot harder to do than with the original modeling file. Okay, so save and be happy. First, now we're going to create some environment. So add mesh plane, make it pretty big. Go to edit mode, subdivide a couple of times. Now we're going to make a displacement map. So new texture, call this terrain, go to textures. So here I am going to use my own files today. I want to be free of any type of copyright. That's how I make my very own texture libraries. I'm going to try a couple of solutions until I find what I need. Okay, I have this for now. I also applied a smooth modifier. I'm going to convert this to mesh, and then I'm going to reduce geometry with the decimate modifier. You already know the drill. Let's go ahead.
Then we'll move forward, creating the environment, lighting, and shaders. So.
Okay, so here we're going to adapt the scale. Now, shade smooth here. Let's create a new material, rocks right there. As for the floor, let's go to settings, material, settings down here, and displacement is going to be displacement and bump. All right, now let's add an image texture. I'm going to use a different one that I use for the geometry displacement. The shader displacement needs another image. It's always more interesting. Save and be happy. And now we're going to work on the other materials. Okay, now here a small production trick. I have all this geometry that looks amazing for my background. And even if I'm going to make an animation, I really don't need all that geometry. So let's go to edit mode. And we're going to select with the C circle selection, a pretty big circle, but we're going to remove a lot of geometry. Turn on the X-rays. The ring is there where the 3D cursor is. Let's make a circle selection. Do a Control-I to invert the selection. Suppress all these vertices. So several millions of vertices are going to go away in a heartbeat. I have the rocks I wanted, and it's rendering a lot faster. So save and be happy. Here for the diamonds, I'm just going to append from another file because it's not the topic of today. There are many other videos where I create the diamonds, and you can find the diamond in my Ultimate Gems asset for cycles and octane. So now let's make the gold. So we're going to make a special, let's add RGB, put the RGB there. Let's make the gold here. Metallic 1, specular 1, roughness 0.5, add the ambient occlusion. This one, small distance, like 2. Now I'm going to use an image texture for the bump and roughness. So here normal, add vector bump to height, use a cubic interpolation. Okay, now let's get an image with some scratches here and there. Okay, now I need some lighting. So let's add a light, a real light, very probably from the front left. Let's make it very strong, exaggerate at the beginning. Rectangle, 120 and 10. Use nodes, string 500. This is way too strong for now. So work between the material, between the shader and the light. Add empty plane axis, depth of field, top view. So here we're going to be very precise. Let's take the camera. Depth of field, turn on, focus on the depth of field. Camera view, save and be happy. Render preview. So let's go at 0.03 or something. Now let's check light path. Let's go at 256. Okay, so on the point light, here let's plug in RGB. And let's make it slightly warm. What I want here on my very organic leaves and flowers here at the top is enamel. So I need a shader to do that, a type of colored glass shader, but I need geometry because it's on top of the gold. So the shader can't really go on the gold itself, replacing the gold right there. That would be bad. That wouldn't achieve the result because in fact, we have a layer of glass on top of the gold. Let's get to it. Layout. I'm going to make a copy of the ring. I'm going to remove the rotations. I'm going to center it. Focus on the ring. Go to edit mode. I'm going to raise the diamonds because I don't need them. So here, we're going to create a plane. Add mesh plane, center it, let's hover it on top of the ring right there. Now we're going to scale it. Now edit mode, extrude this, put it at 0 on the y-axis. It's going to be symmetrical, and let's start doing this more or less. Okay, just like this. Now apply all transforms, mirror on x and y like this. We're going to make a shrink wrap to the ring to the nearest surface. Okay, subdivisions because the simple type, level 4. This is pretty good. We need to tweak. So tweak this. We need to solidify this. So let's call this enamel. And let's make a solidify. It might fail, but let's make a 0 offset. And let's give this some thickness. Save and be happy. Work on the geometry to avoid these sharp corners. Okay, but what I need now is probably a smooth. So here and there we have some accents of gold coming out. This is perfect. Okay, so let me copy this. Shift D, enter. Convert to mesh. Go to materials, new materials. For now, save and be happy. Now I need to place this enamel somewhere exactly on the original ring. So what I'm going to do, take the ring here. I'm going to open the notepad because I need to copy these rotations. I could take a picture on my cell phone or something like that, but copy paste these rotations somewhere. So now let's go to 0. Let's take the enamel mesh. Let's put it in whatever color or something like that. Now we need to move and copy the position of the ring. Okay, now I can join the enamel to the ring. Let's copy back the rotations where they belong. Okay, so here we're back to shading. Now the enamel shader material. So let's make transmission 1, roughness 0, specular 1. Well, that's basically glass. What we might want to do here is to remove the enamel from the shadow. So edit mode, L on the enamel, we're going to separate this geometry. So on the enamel here in object properties, visibility, remove shadow, and let's compare the result. So now we have some glass effect. Like I said, I want some colors. So I need a UV map and we'll have to paint the texture. So let's get to it. Okay, this is the basic enamel glass. We're going to texture paint in Blender. So we need to prepare and check some things. So we separated the enamel. Check that your geometry with the decimate tool is not too high. I'm under 1 million, it's pretty good. Now let's go to UV editing. So select everything. You're directly in edit mode here. Do a UV smart UV project. Okay, ready, save and be happy. Now let's go to texture paint. Here we're going to create a new image. Here, don't put a too high resolution. Keep the basic settings, colors, enamel, put some name here. Okay, go back to shading. Now we need to bring a texture image. We're going to plug it to the base color and the image. We already have it, the freshly created colors, enamel. It's fully black. Save and be happy. These are the basic settings to start texture painting. So now we go to texture painting and basically we're going to work with the colors and the radius of the brush. The blend mix is the default one. It's good for what we need. Let's get to it. Okay, so I'm going to put a big radius. I'm going to go with full white, RGB 111, and let's start painting. Okay, first we're going to paint everything white to set everything back to transparent. Now, save and be happy, but the image here, this is very important. Save. So, colors, enamel, PNG, impression 0, RGBA, save the alpha for whatever, save image, here we are. Never forget to save your texture paint image. Otherwise, you'll lose all your work and you'll be very sad. So save the image and be happy. Go to shading just to be sure that you're fully transparent again and you're good. Okay, now let's go back to texture paint and let's start painting with colors. So I'm going to paint my flowers. Here, the strength, you might vary the strength to have some transparencies. So it's pretty basic, but it's exactly what we need. So let's go and work with the colors. So save the image, go to shading just to check your progress. We'll be tweaking the saturation and the shader when needed. So save, be happy, and get the job done. Okay, so for the colors of the enamel, this is the process. But we're going to do something more for our shader. Enamels can be transparent, but also they can be more opaque. So we can work on the transmission. So add texture, image texture, plug it to transmission. So this would be like a ceramic opaque, a totally opaque enamel. That's actually basically how they look, but I want some variations on that. So let's go to texture paint, image new, call it opacity or whatever you want. Go back to shading, put the opacity image right here, save and be happy. Let's go back to texture paint. Don't forget to save the image, opacity, save image. This is going to work like this. Where it's black, you have 0 transmission, black 0. If you want it to become more transparent, you go to white. So basically I'm going to work with white. I'm going to work with the strength, all of that. I'm going to work with the transparency. You can see the transmission image in action. So now you know what needs to be done. Let's get the job done. Save and be happy. Okay, so this is what you get for the enamel with the opacity on the transmission, with the colors on the base color. Now I added some subsurface at 0.3 with the same colors. Then I added a glass BSDF I'm mixing that at some factor. Now let's go to texture shading so you can see the result. That's the result for the opacity. And for the colors, this is what we have. And the last tweak for the render, you go to compositing with the nodes. You add a glare. You add a glare node at 45 degrees, 6 streaks, pretty high threshold, some fade. And let's make the render at 4K square. It's going to take a couple seconds. This is the result of this tutorial of this 3D jewelry art creation. My name is Damien Rohrbach, the Jewelry Jedi. Save and be happy.